Hi, um, my name is Henry Norris, and this is my presentation for Jonestown, a religious nightmare, for the class TUNI 110 taught by Professor Genevieve Aldi. So, trigger warning before I get started, this story contains mass suicide of a lot of people, manipulation and abuse, and the assassination of a U.S. congressman. So, you have been warned. On November 18th, 1978, over 900 people died simultaneously in a remote jungle settlement in Guyana, in what remained the largest single loss of American civilian life until 9/11. Jonestown is one of the biggest examples of mass manipulation and hysteria in history. To understand Jonestown, we have to start with its founder, Jim Jones. Jim Jones was born in Indiana in 1931 and was a charismatic preacher. He blended Christian rhetoric with socialist ideology, and as his prominence in his community grew, his ideas became more popular with more and more Christians. In the 1950s, he founded a group called the People's Temple, which was a Christian group that revolved around his blending of Christian rhetoric and socialist ideologies. And the group was also very big for their stances on racial integration and social justice, for which they were very progressive towards. Jim Jones was also very progressive towards racial integration and racial equality in this time period, and he spoke about them at length in his sermons to his people. While appearing friendly on the exterior, Jim Jones was actually, to the people that knew him, very narcissistic and very paranoid. He demanded nothing short of loyalty, respect from his followers, and he surveyed his members constantly without their knowledge. He, ins- he insisted that only him could lead them to the salvation that they desired. By the mid 1970s, mounting media scrutiny and accusations of abuse levied towards Jonestown led to Jones relocating the group, to Guyana in South America, excuse me. They established a land there, a plot of land called Jonestown, which is out in the middle of a remote jungle in Guyana. It was labeled by Jones and his followers as a socialist utopia free from American oppression. While seeming nice from the outside and to the American press, life in Jonestown was very difficult for the people that lived there. Food was harsh, food was hard to come by, medical care was limited, and Jones's control as the years went by only intensified. He broadcasted daily sermons um, over the PA speakers, often while he was tripping or high on drugs. And members who defected often reported feeling isolated from the outside world. And if these sentiments were displayed to Jones, they would be punished cruelly for them. In 1978, amid all of these mounting pressures and scandals surrounding Jonestown, U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan led an investigation to Jonestown to determine if the allegations of abuse were just and if further investigation was needed by the federal government. At first, Ryan's reviews were positive, and he was welcomed by Jim Jones and some of the other high-ranking officials in Jonestown. But when several members of Jonestown tried to leave with him, Jones chaos erupted in Jonestown, unfortunately. At a nearby airstrip on the day of his exit, Leo Ryan and four other people from Jonestown who were defecting were murdered on the runway in the plane by Jones's armed guards. Simultaneously, simultaneously, Jones ordered a quote unquote revolutionary suicide to his people. He instructed all of them to ingest poisoned Kool-Aid, and that's where the phrase drink the Kool-Aid comes from. More than 900 people died, including 300 children. People who refused to ingest the poison were forcefully injected with it, and Jim Jones believed that this was the only way out of this situation with how much paranoia he was experiencing at this point. The Jonestown massacre shocked the world, to say the least. Hundreds of images of thousands of bodies laid out neatly in rows in the grass became a symbol of the power of cults and the danger of blind obedience from followers. In the years since, Jonestown has been studied by psychologists, historians, and religious scholars as a case of extreme groupthink, charismatic leadership, and the consequences of isolation-induced delusion. Jonestown is more than just a tragic footnote in history, to me, anyway. I think that it's a really interesting and great reminder that you cannot follow leaders blindly without knowing them, if that makes sense. And I think we're seeing a lot of parallels to that, especially with the new Trump administration. I think we're seeing a lot of parallels to that in our modern day. These are my sources cited. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.